Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your week ahead horoscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for being here and thank you for all of your support throughout the last year and previous. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. If you have not been on it yet, Tribal Tuesday is back. If you want to be a part of that, it goes live in February. You can hit the link in the description box below. And as if that wasn't enough, Mindset Magic is another course that I'm running in March. If you want to be a part of that, it's all about your manifesting ability and how to make it work. You can also catch that in the links in the description box below. There are only 12 spaces on each of those courses because I want to make sure that I give my utmost to everybody that is in attendance. So if you want to get on it, please check it out. I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So as you can see, I'm switching it up, doing things slightly different, and the reason being is because I like to keep it fresh and funky so that it's fresh and different for us all the time, you know. So tell me, do you love it? Do you loathe it? Your actions and interactions with the world at large on your path. This week you are approaching your fears. One of the things that I've always said about Sagittarius energy, you guys are so brave. Like seriously, like obviously everyone always says like, yeah, Aries, you know, and Scorpio, and those are very brave signs for sure. But Sagittarius for me is a very, very brave sign. You guys really have this ability to kind of face things head on. I mean, maybe it's the Jupiterian sort of, you know, as your ruler that gives you the optimism and you're like, meh, it can't be that bad, right? But in the face of all things, you guys tend to have like a really beautiful courage and bravery around you. The fact that you've got the moon card on your path, this is about you saying to yourself, you know what, I don't have all the answers here. I'm not 100% sure of what is shaping up, why this is happening. There's probably some big questions for you at the moment, and it's almost like this week you're admitting to yourself that you don't have all the answers and that in some respects you are possibly quite scared or afraid of something. And that for me is a really powerful place to be in, right? Because the moon card is those instinctual fears that we have. It's the past, it's the things that have been, it's the shadows or the echoes of events that have taken place that kind of sometimes colour the, you know, the present, let's say. The fact that you've got this on your path, it for me sees you saying, you know what, I don't have all the answers. I'm not entirely sure where it is that I'm going from here. What I do know is that I will deal with it as and when it comes up, and ultimately I will face it all head on. There's a very brave energy about this week for you. And this is why I talked about Sagittarius and its bravery. There's something about this week where you're kind of like, come what may, I will face it head on. Your communications with the world at large, you have the Chariot card, and that is obviously the best use of your energy this week because you've got the Chariot here in your communications. And what this sees, excuse me, what this sees is you really not only conquering your own fears, but also conquering the fears that other people might be imposing on you, right? Because this is your communications after all, and you've got the victory card. This is victory, success, but it's also you winning. So this is about wherever it is that you want to go or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're facing. This is about you separating out what is my stuff and what is somebody else's. What are my fears? What are somebody else's fears? What is a projection onto me as opposed to what's coming from within me? And that is a really powerful place to be. It looks like you're being very well received this week as well. You're very persuasive this week. You could charm the birds from the trees. No different to any other day, right, Sagittarius? But yeah, for sure, like this week you're very persuasive. You have that energy around you and about you. Look at this as well, first two cards out and straight away you've got two major cards, so big things happening for you. And what I like about this whole sort of I don't know is it's honest, right? And this is one of the things that we know Sagittarius has in spades, right, is honesty. And with that honesty, it opens you up for the universe to say, right, okay, you know what? Now you understand that I'm steering at the moment. When I'm ready, I'll hand the wheel back to you. That's the whole point of co-creation. Knowing when to lean in and knowing when to kind of take your hands off and say, okay, you got it, you do your thing. Your money and materials, you have the Temperance card. Look at this, right? So you've got the Sagittarius card in your money and materials. This is about you trying to balance the material and the spiritual worlds within you and obviously without you as well. The interesting thing is here for me, your Temperance card is basically saying there's a lot about the future that you're considering at the moment, especially those of you that have children. This could be a week where you're really sort of very focused on what is my legacy, what am I leaving behind. The Temperance card asks you to relinquish some of that, right? It asks you to kind of take a step back and say, right, okay, I will control the bits that I can and I will leave what I can't. This is about you moving into that place of pure spiritual alchemy. And the way that you fuse matter and spirit is, you know, ultimately by bringing the spiritual into the physical and vice versa. So this could be you really paying attention to your finances, looking at what your budget is on a practical level, but asking yourself, how does that apply to the long-term future? This is about you really thinking to yourself. I mean, even if you don't have children, this could be you just thinking about your own personal stuff, like things like retirement, things like old age. You know, some of you could be looking at this through the guise of parents and saying, wow, you know, well, when my parents got old, they, you know, maybe didn't have much, or, you know, maybe they wish they'd made better decisions or whatever. This is about you being able to do this now, which is, you know, ultimately a beautiful thing. That's why they paved the way for us, right? So your heart and hearth, you have the Page of Swords. Now, I have to say this, for those of you that do have children, this could be a week of very intense conversations with them. I just get this feeling that you and your child, kids, you know, if you have several, there may be moments where you're at odds with each other, and it's just because your viewpoints are very, very different. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's what makes the world spin, right? But you need to find a way to traverse that where everybody feels like they're being heard. For those of you that are single, Page of Swords with all of these other cards, I gotta be honest with you, I don't feel like it's a big relationship week. If you're meeting somebody, it's probably going to be transient. I mean, look at this. You've got 3 major cards, and this for me suggests that there's so much going on in your life personally that you don't really have time to add anybody else to the mix. For those of you that are partnered, this could be a week where you're really focused on the long-term resources, and it could be a week where you're focused on the kids. I have to say this, and I don't feel like there's any major sort of life-changing debacles on their way, but I feel like the words that I keep hearing are, this week the kids are not all right. You probably do need to check in with where they're at and what's going on with them on an internal level, you know, just to see where they're at. And then finally, your key to the week. You have the World card, the Universe card. Beautiful, right? Consider this week as a clearing of the decks. Consider this week as you just getting ready to take that sort of flying leap into the future that it is that you want. Now, if you are a couple that doesn't have any kids, because I can hear a few of you say, well, I ain't got no kids, we don't have any children, or they're grown and they're self-sufficient. If that is the case, this could really see you and your partner looking for different avenues of stimulation, especially on a mental, emotional, sort of spiritual level. But your key to the week with the Universe card, or the World card as it is in the Rider-Waite, this is about you. This week is prep. It's prep for whatever else is on the other side, which is everything new. And we'll talk about that when that comes. Don't forget, we've got some really big transits taking place during this week. On the 10th, we've got the lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer. And then on the 12th, we've got that Saturn-Pluto conjunction that kind of kicks off. So with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Looks like an interesting week ahead for you. Keep me in the loop. Let me know how it shapes up for you. Do you love it? Do you loathe it? Let me know. Take care, and I'll see you soon.